that, as a matter of fact. But I don't know if you've been able to see that, or you were too busy kind of doing your job, Bryce.
Yeah, Jenny, well, I'll tell you, you mentioned that the protesters seem to be disappearing from the pictures that you're seeing, but I'll tell you that we can actually see them moving in underneath the freeway just around the car that went up in flames. And so that's where they're moving, but of course they're still out here. And you asked me another question. Can you come again with that?
Oh, at this point, I'm not sure, but are you at the 8th Street intersection, Bryce?
Yes, we're at 8th and the I-35 frontage road.
If we can borrow your eyes, earlier we saw that traffic was free-flowing on I-35 both directions. Is that still the case right now?
Well, if I was taller, I'd be able to give you a better answer, but it does appear that... I'm sorry, what's that? Okay. Yeah, the freeway says congestion on 35 in downtown Austin. That's what it says. But it does appear that it's still moving very slowly, maybe just down to one lane. It's really hard to tell.
We do have a shot
more
of
fireworks went off.
It appears that it's very slow moving. Actually, it's not even moving at all. And we do see a lot of red and blue lights that indicate that a lot of police cruisers are still on the interstate highway. So we do still need to warn everybody to avoid that area. We've been telling you that for the past 10 plus hours. So we're going to continue to tell you to stay away from this area here on I-35, northbound and southbound, actually, in downtown Austin, to stay away from the 8th Street area as well. If you're just joining us here at 10:09 Saturday night, you can see people walking around 8th Street near in front of the Austin Police Department. This is what's left of what's going on as protesters and demonstrators remain in front of the Austin Police Department. Earlier this morning during weekend daybreak, we showed you workers, staff members boarding up the first floor of the glass windows, the glass doors of the Austin Police Department as the police department was getting ready for this protest. And I don't think any of those glass windows were broken, but I did see some pictures on social media of at least one police cruiser where the windows were broken. We did take some of those pictures. Our crew members did take some of those pictures, some still images of that. So we know of at least one police cruiser that was damaged either by rocks or bricks. We know that the Austin Police Department building itself was vandalized. We do know of at least another building in the downtown area that was vandalized. Our reporter Mike Marute also reported that he himself saw some buildings that were vandalized. Bryce, as you were marching with the demonstrators toward the state capitol, did you yourself witness anything like that? Any vandalism, anything else that was going on? If you're even still there. Okay, maybe you're still not there. Okay, that was Bryce Newberry reporting for us, who has been with us throughout the day for the better part of 10 hours. We did see Mari Salazar. Was she ready for us? Did she need to go? Okay. Ken Cassidy, the president of the Austin Police Association, just texted me and told me that there's vandalism all up and down Congress Avenue. I'm assuming he is talking about buildings as well as maybe even on the infrastructure. So thank you, Ken, for texting and telling us that. And viewers, if you have any images or video you want to send us, please text that into us, 512-459-9442. If we have a graphic, we'll pop that up. But right now we have more pressing images to show you. You can see on the right-hand side of your screen, that is earlier today. You see that crowd surrounding vehicles? That was earlier today. You can see what law enforcement had to deal with, and you can understand why that Governor Greg Abbott called up the National Guard just a couple of hours ago. You can also understand why he activated 1,500 extra DPS troopers to help out not only with the protest here in Austin, but with protests in Houston and Dallas as well. And for the most part, for the betterment of today, this protest was peaceful until, well, and it's still peaceful. We just had that incident with the car on fire and with officers shooting off rubber bullets. There have been a couple of reports that I received that I saw on social media of injuries because of those rubber bullets. To what extent, we're not sure. Austin Travis County EMS reporting at least a dozen injuries from that. Not clear how serious that is. Okay, my understanding is we have Mari Salazar on the ground with a live report. Mari, what are you seeing? What can you tell us?
Jenny, I could tell you that we've seen a couple more fireworks going off here to my right, and then another one right behind me. You can see some smoke from that as well. Doesn't look like any fires have been started because of them, but they were fireworks going off, and it looks like those police officers are still up on I-35. Here to my left, I'm going to show you that image for you. And like Bryce mentioned earlier, there is congestion on I-35 in downtown. So, oh, there you go. There you heard another firework right there. Then you see the smoke. We're gonna zoom in right there for you because there is some smoke there where the firework just went off. We're not sure where these fireworks are coming from, but they've been coming off pretty frequently in the past couple of minutes. And again, one of the demonstrators has continued to speak here on a microphone. Police have not moved from here on I-35, nor have they moved from the front of APD headquarters. I haven't seen any altercations between APD and protesters that are standing in front of APD headquarters. I have seen some people chatting, talking in front of the police officers, but nothing that's concerning. I'm going to see what else I can show you around here, but again, I want to tell you what APD has been putting out on their social media today. They did say that a lot of the demonstrations around Austin today have been peaceful, but there have been people throwing rocks, bricks, eggs, water bottles, and Molotov cocktails. And APD has been using less lethal rounds during the course of the events, and that's something I heard earlier too. Around 9:50, we were walking down 8th Street, and that's when a firework went off, and that's when the car fire happened here under I-35.
Hey, Mari, can you please show us where that firework went off and that smoke?
Left. Okay, we're gonna show you right here. We're gonna walk a little bit under here on 8th Street. If you know where the golf convenience store is, right there under 7th, right by APD, that firework went off right there. And then again, to our left, there was another firework. And while this is all happening, there are still demonstrators here standing in front of APD, in front of the headquarters, holding signs saying justice for Mike Ramos, George Floyd. And APD did tell us, they had mentioned on their social media that they have made a dozen arrests today.
Hey, looks like we got a fight over there.
Hey, sorry, I'm talking to my photographer right now. He's telling me that there might be a fight over there too on 7th. We're zooming in there for you. Looks like there's an altercation over there. We're not sure between who. There are people chanting still here by APD. Again, we're right directly under the 8th Street light. The fight that we were talking about earlier was right under 7th Street, right in front of the Gulf convenience store that is right by APD. And again, we don't know where these fireworks are coming from. So there were a couple this way, a couple that way. We've been hearing them for the past, it's been 20 minutes now. We've been hearing several fireworks go off, and it's unclear if that firework was the cause of the car fire that happened under I-35. And since then, the car fire has been put out. AFD left about 10 minutes ago. We did see 2 fire trucks pull out down here on 8th Street. I'm going to show you a little bit about the demonstrators here. They're starting to chant again. They do have their signs again with justice for George Floyd and Mike Ramos. I'm going to let you guys just listen to what's happening here. I'm just going to be quiet and let you guys listen to what's happening around here at APD headquarters. Looks like these demonstrators stopped their chanting, but we do have this person still talking on a microphone. we're still keeping a close eye on these demonstrators here. There is a smaller group than there was earlier. You have seen the pictures that we've been putting up on air. There were a big group of people around here at APD, and this is not a fraction of how many people were out here earlier. So I just wanted to give you a look at what that looks like right now. But there are demonstrators just kind of spread out everywhere in this area. Today they were just kind of hopping around to different areas like the Capitol, Governor Greg Abbott's mansion. They were also demonstrating in front of there. We were in front of there earlier, and it did seem to be peaceful from what we saw earlier. And we're
You
taking
can hear me. My concern is where that firework went off is traditionally where a lot of the homeless house and put up their tents. So if you want to look, if we can take another look, I'm just concerned if maybe any of them were harmed in that little, when the fireworks went off.
We haven't heard any lights and sirens. Yeah, Jenny, we haven't heard any lights and sirens since that firework went off, and I do see, like you mentioned, a lot of camps here under I-35 like there normally are. We're trying to get a little bit closer, but obviously we're trying to still keep a safe distance, of course. I haven't heard a firework go off in the last couple of minutes. Getting a little bit closer again here. Again, if you are traveling in this area, just make sure that you are staying far away from 7th and 8th Street. There is congestion on I-35. Again, there are cops all alongside I-35. They were firing rubber bullets earlier, and that is something that they mentioned on their Twitter page today. I'm sorry, Jenny, I can't hear you. One more time?
Mari, some people were running eastbound. Do you know why?
We don't know why, but I'm actually looking that way right now. It just seems like these demonstrators are just roaming around this area right now. That's pretty much what it looks like. Just, you know, walking around, and that's pretty much it from what we're looking at. We want to keep a safe distance, so I don't want to get too close. But actually, to our left, you can see the burned the burned car that we were reporting on earlier. Again, I'm not going to get too close, but this is the car that apparently was clearly on fire earlier today. It is put out fully. AFD left.
Dig for the truth. You gotta dig for it. The only way to throw them away.
Oh, and we're gonna
dig for the truth.
I'll keep a shot on that. We're gonna keep a shot on that car right now. And so that car did go on fire about 30 minutes ago. Again, it's unclear if that firework that we were listening to earlier is something that sparked this fire. I'm keeping a close eye on APD's Twitter right now. All they do have is that the car fire happened. That's basically all they have, and that Austin Fire was on scene. I'm going to check Austin Fire's social media pages as well, see if they have any more information about how it started. Again, there's some people around there. There's someone with the American flag. I'm going to back up here a little bit for us. We're still looking at the police up here on I-35. Jenny, let me know if you can still hear me.
I can still hear you. We were just kind of observing like you are. Several Austin police officers on the upper deck of I-35 looking down. Those are the same Austin police officers who were firing rubber bullets at demonstrators earlier this evening, which we saw from Kayla Norwood's live shot maybe an hour or so ago. And here are some other Austin police officers on the, not that far away from the first group of Austin police officers on the upper deck. Earlier we saw that traffic was very slow going southbound on I-35. They have not shut down traffic, but they have several police cruisers on the upper deck, presumably to keep demonstrators off of I-35, because several groups of demonstrators have shut down traffic several times today. So maybe we can show that shot maybe in a couple of minutes as we continue to show you this shot from this vantage point. It's been busy from this vantage point on 8th Street on the ground at the intersection because a car was fully engulfed several minutes ago. The fire department came out, put that out. Okay. Our senior reporter, Tony Pohetsky, who has been on the ground in the middle of things for now 10 and a half hours, is joining us live. And Tony, where are you and what are you seeing?
So, Jenny, one thing that I just want to tell people, and will not be a huge surprise to anyone, although it is highly unusual within the Austin Police Department. Veteran officers tell me that they are not familiar with this happening in a number of years. But effective immediately, Police Chief Brian Manley has put an order in place that every single Austin police officer will now work in 12-hour shifts, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. That means that all 2,100 officers have been summoned to duty, and that means that no matter their rank or where they are normally assigned, that is going to be what is happening over the next couple of days at least. This is effective immediately and effective indefinitely as Austin police try to respond to what is happening in downtown Austin, Jenny, tonight.
Tony, it is an all-hands-on-deck situation.
In an unprecedented all-hand-on-deck situation, of course, one of the things that the department and the city as a whole are going to have to contend with in the days to follow, Jenny, is how to recover the cost, how to pay for all of this. As you can imagine, there has already been a lot of conversation about the city's budget and budgetary constraints as a result of the economic impact of COVID-19. But now they are going to have to spend more money to make up for overtime and policing, cleanup from the protests throughout the day today as well, and possibly going forward.
That's exactly what I was just about to say. Lots of OT spent on this, and of course they wouldn't skimp when public safety is of the utmost concern tonight. Look at this. A protest that started at noon. We don't know when it will end. Plus, there's that protest tomorrow, Tony. Plus, there was that protest last night, that unexpected protest last night. We don't know how much this is going to cost. And you brought up a very good point.
When I talked to Police Chief Brian Manley earlier today, that was one of the things, and his message that he wanted to get out early, he said, is that, the city has prioritized services over time in terms of helping people, and he said that he feared that if the events of today were to result in a major cost to the city, that some of those programs that are so important to the citizenry of Austin could potentially have to be scaled back or even cut out because of the economic impact of all of this.
And Tony, there's got to be some fear that vacancies may not be filled now.
Absolutely. How policing unfolds in our city for the next while could potentially be shifted because of what is happening tonight. Obviously, there was a cadet class, a new police cadet class that was scheduled for the month of June. That was pushed back already because of concerns about racism, internal racism within the Austin Police Department, and systemic racism within the Austin Police Department. It will be interesting to see, Jenny, how all of this plays out in the weeks to come.
Stay tuned, as they say. Hey, Tony, where are you exactly?
So, Jenny, I'm not on the ground anymore. Of course, I was there for hours earlier today, but I am no longer there.
Okay, of course, you were here for several hours this morning, this afternoon. We saw you. Of course, senior reporter Tony Pohetsky, we always appreciate your insight. Good job today. Thank you for talking to us. All right, back on scene on 8th Street. As you can see, the crowd still in front of the Austin Police Department, many of them masked. And as Austin Mayor Steve Adler said, he appreciates those who are practicing social distancing and wearing their mask. But he did tell me earlier today that he is concerned about a possible COVID-19 spike because of this protest, because of last night's protest, and possibly because of tomorrow's planned protest. He hopes that at tomorrow's protest, people will exercise more prudent social distancing measures. He certainly advises that. All right, we are seeing, are those fire trucks in the middle of 8th Street there, or just police cruisers? It's kind of hard for me to see there. At any rate, please avoid this area tonight if you're coming to downtown. Police are advising everyone to avoid downtown, but if you must, please use alternate routes by now. We've been telling you this for the better part of 10 and a half hours. MOPAC 130, because as you can see, demonstrators are not going anywhere. They are here at 8th Street and the surrounding areas. Certainly, we showed you I-35 and how slow going those cars are on the interstate and even frontage. There were, something else on fire here. Is this the same car that was on fire and it has been set on fire again? Okay, people are running again. Is there anybody, is Mari Salazar available to tell us? Oh, it's a mattress on fire. Okay, all right. If
Hey,
we can
Jenny.
take a look on that.
Do you hear me?
Is that Mari? Oh, can we please?
Hey, Jenny,
we
do you hear me?
apologize for this shot. Can we please not show this? You know, this is live television. We apologize for showing things that are inappropriate. Sometimes
There's
it can't be.
They need to speak up.
Mari Salazar, can you hear
Jenny,
me?
do you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Tell us.
Oh, wait, there's like... All right, Tom, we have heard some shots of something. We're not sure what. We're trying to back up here. We're trying to keep ourselves safe here as well.
Please be safe.
We are looking at a fire. One of our crew members did say that he saw a scooter, an electric scooter on some pellets. And in the last 5 minutes, we have heard shots from something, but we're not sure what. About 5 minutes ago, and then we heard it again in the last couple of seconds. There are demonstrators around here. They have been clapping, cheering, but they haven't been really saying anything. Again, we're going to keep a close-up look around here. We're under I-35, just so everyone is aware. This is by some homeless camps. Again, we did hear something being fired. We're not sure in what direction or what it was exactly, but we started to back up as soon as we heard it. Of course, keeping ourselves safe, and it didn't look like anyone else is hurt, but we did hear some concerning shots being fired of something. So we wanted to back up, and that's why we're not so close to the fire right now. Again, we are under I-35, right by 7th Street, still in front of APD headquarters. So if you pan to your right, we're gonna pan this way. I'm gonna show you how close it is to APD. It's right there. The protesters are still out there. They are still out there in front of APD. This is how close. I just wanted to show you how close it was to the APD headquarters of where we're standing. So we are still in this area of where demonstrators are standing, and like I've said in my past live shots, there have been a lot of people just separating. There hasn't been really many big groups like there was earlier. They're kind of just like separate groups in different areas around 7th and 8th Street. And I haven't heard any fireworks again. We are looking at the car that was on fire earlier under I-35. There's someone spray painting it actually right now. And that person that was speaking earlier on a microphone is still going. There are still demonstrators out there holding signs. Again, I don't hear any chants like we've been hearing throughout the day. And I don't see any signs up around where I'm standing. We're giving you another look at the fire there. It doesn't look like too big. I actually heard a honk. I wasn't sure if that was Austin Fire. Actually, I don't see them from here, so I don't think that was them, but I did hear a loud honk. So there is a fire out here under I-35. It doesn't look like there's anyone hurt. And again, we did hear some shots being fired of something again earlier. Again, we don't notice anyone's being hurt. We're gonna... Again, we are under I-35, right by APD headquarters, in front of the Gulf Convenience Store. If you are traveling in this area, APD asks you to stay away, avoid this area. There is congestion on I-35. We have been telling you this over and over, but just in case you're just tuning in right now, just make sure if you are traveling down I-35, just make sure that you are aware of this congestion. And I'm going to actually walk a little bit further to see if APD, I haven't seen any APD officers around us, but again, they are on along I-35, still up there. Again, I'm gonna ask my photographer to let's just start walking back to where APD headquarters was. We're gonna walk this way. We're gonna go back to where the protesters were standing in front of APD, because there's not much protesting going on right here, right under I-35 near 7th Street. So we're gonna walk a little bit closer to where the protesters are. I'm keeping an eye to see if Austin police, I do see some Austin police officers still on I-35. That is what I wanted to confirm. And I'm gonna let you guys hear what's going on around here. Fireworks lately, but again, we did hear about 3 fireworks go off in the last 30 minutes, so we are keeping an eye out for that. Again, I wanted to give you a closer look at the protesters that are standing here still in front of APD. They are still holding their signs. APD is standing up there in the same group that they've been standing. And I'm going to show you also the graffiti that's up here on APD headquarters. And I want to mention too, when I was walking down 8th Street, there was a ton of graffiti saying a lot of extremities, and we don't want to repeat what those words say, but we do want to mention that there was graffiti all along 8th Street, so we do want to mention that, and along downtown.
This is where the protesters were standing last night.
And I want to show you where the protesters were standing last night. This is the area that they were standing last night. Bryce Newberry just mentioned that to me. He was here last night when the protesters, they were standing right here. And this area is empty right now. Again, I want to show you that the crowd that is in front of APD isn't as large as the crowd was as it was earlier. Again, you've seen the pictures. We have those pictures on our social media. We've been airing them on KVUE all day. And that crowd isn't here anymore. They've just kind of dispersed in different areas. I'm struggling to hear right now, but I wanted to let you know that they have been dispersing all throughout the day. So right now we're going to pan right to our right again. And Jenny, do you still hear me? Just want to double check that you guys are still with me.
Mari, I can still hear you, although all the demonstrators are pretty loud. We can still hear you. All right, Mari Salazar reporting live for us at 8th Street, right in front of the Austin Police headquarters. And as you can see, the building now has significantly more vandalism. Kaylin Norwood is standing by live for us now. And Kaylin, you tweeted that the fire has several other items besides a mattress, right?
Yes, so I am here witnessing the second fire that we've seen here tonight take place. This fire is right under the I-35 bridge. We're on near 7th Street. So this is a little bit further down to where the protest started and along as we're at the APD headquarters. So now we're seeing another fire being set inside. I mean, there's scooters that you see. So there was a mattress in there, and there was also a mattress on the side of it. But since that fire actually started, it appears that some of the protesters are deciding to put out the fire, and they have really shifted from where this protest started at the headquarters. They're now, instead of the intersection on 8th Street, they're now about a block away, and that is where they're congregating, chanting. You can hear them talking right now as I'm speaking as well, but that's where the second fire is. And I have one of the protesters right here. I was talking to him earlier about what's going on.
Hey, Kaylin, so this is the second fire that is underneath. Okay, Kaylin Norwood, thank you for that. My understanding is this is the second fire that is near the APQ headquarters. The first one was that car that we showed you, and the second one, the mattress/scooter and other items that were involved. The first one was put out by the Austin Fire Department. The second one hopefully will be put out pretty soon as well. Earlier, just a few minutes ago, Mari Salazar's live shot, we saw a lot of graffiti on the Austin Police Headquarters building, where this afternoon we only saw one, and tonight there is so much more. And according to Ken Cassidy, the president of the Austin Police Association, he says there's a lot of graffiti up and down Congress Avenue as well. So, and viewers, if you have any pictures of that, will you please send them in, or video of that, or anything else you would share with us, your experience, if you're at this protest, or if you were there earlier. If you can tweet that to us, or just send them in at, text it to us at 512-459-9442. We certainly will share that if we can. At 10:38 Saturday night, what is all this about if you're just joining us? Well, these protesters and demonstrators are upset. They want their voices heard. They want to get people's attention because they are asking for change. They are tired of police brutality. They are tired of systemic racism. They are doing this because of two deaths in particular, of Michael Ramos, an Austin man who was shot and killed by an Austin police officer on April 24th. And of course of George Floyd, a Houston native who was killed by a Minneapolis police officer. That officer and 3 others were fired on Tuesday, and that officer was arrested and charged with murder yesterday. So that's what all this is for. A lot of people are upset, and they protested yesterday, they protested today, and they will again protest tomorrow. So please, if this bothers you, then just avoid this area. These people want to be heard. Oh, we see more fireworks going off. Can we go back down to Mari Salazar and see if she can give us a firsthand account? Mari, are you there? Can we take her? Okay. All right. All right. So this, Kaylin, are you there? Can you give us a firsthand account?
Can you guys
Who
hear
is
me?
setting off these fireworks near a homeless area?
Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, Kaylin.
Okay, so we're going to have to move a little bit. I got to reposition a little bit because those fireworks that you saw were going off. But now you're seeing that firefighters have since arrived on scene for that second fire. Protesters were trying to put it out again. Someone said it, another person's trying to put it out, but now firefighters have officially arrived and are taking care of the situation, making sure that the fire and the smoke is cleared. Now, compared to the car fire, the fire that you're seeing there that has scooters as the source of it and a mattress was a lot smaller than what we were seeing about an hour ago when a car was on fire. And so protesters, they have again shifted quite a bit to this now, about a block away from where they were earlier. That was on 8th and along I-35. Now they're at 7th and have moved, congregated here. They're no longer really at the entrance of APD. They're now pulling fireworks. You hear that behind me? Those fireworks are continuing to go off every few minutes. Protesters setting fireworks off. Again, when I spoke to one of the protesters about the unrest, about all that's happening here, they say they are intentionally trying to get the attention of authorities here because they feel like for too long their voices have not been heard. So that is why you're seeing, they say, things are escalating. Now, again, that is not the sentiment of everyone that is out here. There are peaceful protesters who haven't agitated anyone here or haven't been throwing water bottles. There are some that are simply just wanting to take a stand for the lives of George Floyd and Michael Ramos, 2 men, a feller who unfortunately did die, and they were in police custody. So wanting to make a stand and talk about the death of unarmed black men in particular. That's why you're seeing so many people out here. But I was asking a guy just moments ago while that second fire was taking place about what he thinks about all that's happening here. He didn't set that fire. He said he's upset because he loves this city. He doesn't want to see anything destroyed in any way, any of the vandalism. That's not why he's here. But he's also, like many people here, they're upset at what they're seeing in this country, the relationship between police and people of color. So you have both ends of the spectrum. People are upset, and as a result, things are happening in a different way. People handling what they've been seeing play out on social media and with their family members' lives. And that is what you're seeing here. It seems like pent-up anger from not just those two situations that I mentioned earlier, but situations past. And so people are making their voices heard, and they said they're doing it in this way. And again, people here, they're not all for what you're seeing, that this issue between police officers and these protesters, they are not all throwing the water bottles.
Now, Kaylin, I've lost count, so I have seen at least 3 pyrotechnic incidents. Have you counted?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time for me, Jenny?
There have been at least 3 or 4 fireworks incidents. Have you happened to count it? How many?
I haven't counted just how many fireworks have gone off here, but I'd say there are a handful, possibly up to 10 incidents.
Oh,
I mean, there's just one that just happened just now. So this is happening a lot more frequently. When we were out here earlier and there was still a little bit of daylight, we saw a lot less of that. I mean, the first was a flare that we saw go up. That didn't really, cause too much trouble. But now you're starting to see these fireworks as we're getting into these later night hours. People are, setting off fireworks at a more rapid pace. Again, trying to make noise, make their voices heard. This is intentionally, they told me, not a silent protest. But again, there are some that have a different opinion. For instance, I saw just before we went over to that second fire, closer to where the APC headquarters is, there were, I'd say, a handful of young women standing silently, looking at police officers holding their signs, making a silent statement. They wouldn't even speak to me as I was asking them the importance of why they were there this evening, but they were making a stand, staying silent, not trying to cause any trouble here. And honestly, the people that I have spoken to, they aren't the ones who are standing for some of the violence or any of the chaos that you're seeing take place tonight.
It is not a silent protest anymore. And Kaylin, did you notice that gas station turned off the lights? I wonder why they did that. Is it closed now, or are authorities shut it down? Are you there right now?
We're a little bit away from that gas station that I believe you're talking about. It might be the Gulf.
Did you see? Now they turned off all the lights.
But yeah, the lights are off. It's probably them making a statement, I would assume, with all that you see take place right here at the intersection of their business, making sure that they aren't allowing anyone to go in and out of their business as we're seeing this all play out. Now, some of the roads that were closed off at the 8th Street intersection are now opening up. And so maybe for fire trucks and what have you be able to come through as we see things escalate a little bit into these evening hours, just to make sure that traffic can flow. But we are seeing during the past few minutes a lot of officers repositioning. They were mainly just along I-35, the top of the highway there, and at the HC headquarters. But now they are stationing and they're really moving around depending upon the crowd. They're intermingling. There's a group of officers standing next to the fire truck here, I'm sure, making sure that they can get in and out safely. But they are responding anytime you see a fire truck go up to a fire. You see then behind them and in front of them several officers responding to that as well, making sure that it's taken care of. But sometimes what we've seen when officers come down to where the protesters are, that's when things start to escalate, and where there is normally confrontation because someone throws something at an officer, throws a water bottle, and then officers respond with those rubber bullets that we see go off several times tonight.
Yeah, the fear certainly is that these pyrotechnics, these fireworks will set off more fires, especially
Jenny,
with the
I wanna-
homeless camp
I hate to
nearby,
interrupt you
right?
there. Yeah, I just want to let you guys know. I know you can't see it. I'm not sure we have another camera crew that can point it out to you guys. But there's now a third fire that is happening at that gas station we were talking about, the Gulf gas station that is along 7th and I-35. It looks like the dumpster is now on fire. The fire crew that just finished responding. Sorry about that. Someone threw what appeared to be a flare or firework, and so we had to get out of that situation. But there is a garbage dumpster that is on fire, and officials are now attending to that. So these fires are happening a lot more frequently.
Oh. And yet more fireworks.
Another firework right near the same intersection.
And Caitlin, I think that is 7th Street, right? Are you near?
Yes.
That's 7th Street. Okay. So then, okay. And hopefully you're tucked away safely somewhere in a corner.
Yeah, we're trying to maneuver around the situation, but obviously, as you can see, the crowd is shifting their location quite a bit, depending upon what's going on. If the fire is set, if the person is pepper sprayed, then you see the crowd shift to whatever incident just happened, and they're really shifting farther south from the APD headquarters building as we're going on through the evening here.
And Caitlin, are they putting out that dumpster fire you're talking about near the gas station?
Yeah, so right now we see one fire truck that is on scene. Firefighters are currently putting out that dumpster fire that I just mentioned to you guys as best as they can. Not sure, again, who started it. Protesters have been starting fires out here. And again, you mentioned earlier that you noticed that the Gulf gas station here had turned off the lights. Saying they are closed for business, not wanting any trouble, not wanting any protesters, anyone coming in to be a part of this scene. Well, unfortunately, now they are, because the dumpster is on their property, and they must have seen something coming.
We can safely say that that gas station is closed for business for right now, right? So.
Yeah, the lights are completely out. Officers are now in front of the entrance to that gas station, preventing any protesters from getting near it and getting near where those firefighters are. Continue to throw more fireworks in the direction of those officers, and as a result, those firefighters as well. And it looks like they are going to continue doing this.
Caitlin, where did that fireworks happen?
That firework just happened south of the gas station, just behind it, the back end of the building. So protesters are all around this area. They're moving further south from the entrance of APD headquarters, where this protest initially started a long time ago. This started at noon, and things have shifted quite a bit. It seems like the focus is now a lot less on the actual officers at APD headquarters, and is just moving to wherever the action is.
And you can see the small plume of smoke as remnants of the fireworks. And of course, if you're not from Austin, it is illegal to set off fireworks within the city limits. So we see people walking around. Are those fire department personnel? It's hard to tell.
I'm not exactly sure of the clear shot that you're seeing here, but there really are. There are a couple or a handful of firefighters that are coming from that fire truck scene here, but we'll see a lot more of the APD officers in their protective gear, headgear on, and making sure that, again, protesters do not come on this property as firefighters are actively working to put out the fire here. And this is, again, the third fire that we've seen in just under an hour here that has taken place, where this people were hoping a peaceful protest would take place, but it's looking like that is becoming no longer the case.
All right, Caitlin, let me interrupt you there. Thank you so much for that. We'll come back to you momentarily. We're going to go back to Mari Salazar, who is likely at the intersection of 8th and I-35. Mari, are you still there, or are you wandering around?
Yeah, I'm still out here, Jenny, and I still see police out here, not as many as there was up on I-35, but there are still a couple of protesters here, and I just want to remind you that this rally in front of APD, it actually spread across Austin to City Hall and Texas Capitol. It started around noon today, so people have been out. I actually talked to some protesters who said they've been out here since early afternoon. They don't know when they're going to leave, but they are here for the same reason. They do want to get justice for, they say they want to get justice for Mike Ramos and George Floyd. They want to make a statement. And so they're trying to show solidarity with those across the country who are protesting for justice for George Floyd and the call for justice for Mike Ramos as well. So, and today we did receive several reports of vandalism, and you can, well, we don't want a close-up of the APD graffiti right now because there are some profanities on there right now, but we have seen a lot of vandalism across downtown, and witnessed police using non-lethal rounds and other measures to control crowds, some trying to block traffic on I-35 for multiple hours. And I'm looking at I-35 right now. They did have a sign up earlier saying that they had congestion. I don't see that sign anymore. Police are still up there. Again, the crowd around here has kind of dispersed. This is still blocked off around here. There are still blockades there. Again, I don't see, oh, I do see the sign. That was my mistake. I do see the sign where it says that there is still congestion here on I-35. Again, if you're traveling around here, police ask you to avoid the area. So that is still happening here. There's a small group of protesters here in front of APD. I'm going to show you, they are still holding up signs. It looks like it's a peaceful protest. People are just holding up signs, chatting around here, and police still have their presence, their strong presence here. Again, they still have their signs up. They have been out here since early this afternoon, and this isn't the only protest that is planned. This is the only rally that's planned for this weekend. Tomorrow there is actually another rally that the Austin Justice Coalition and Black Lives Matter is holding, the Justice for Them All rally, that's what it's called, and the march is going to be starting on the south steps of the Texas State Capitol and ending at City Hall. So that is happening tomorrow. So this isn't something that people are stopping at. I have talked to a lot of other protesters too who have told me that they are coming back tomorrow, and they have been adamant that they want to remain peaceful. This is not something that they want to turn violent. They do want to keep peace. They want to just make a statement, hold their signs up, and make sure that their voices are heard. I'm trying to look at I-35 again here. Again, not as many cops. And I haven't seen any of those shots, those rubber bullets being fired from the top in a while since we first said around 10 today. So we haven't heard that. And like Kaylin mentioned, I have heard some fireworks from here, from where I'm standing, which is right under A Street and I-35. We have heard the fireworks from here, but I'm trying to move a little bit further away from where someone is speaking to me right now. Again, we just want to give you some more of these sites of what we're looking at right now and how the protest is looking like. Again, the protests had started today around noon, but also protesters came out here on last night it was around midnight, saying they started protesting then. That's what I wanted to make clear, that they did protest yesterday night, and then they're back here today. And again, the group is a little bit smaller, holding the same Black Lives Matter signs. And again, all right, and we're gonna walk this way because we are seeing a lot of cops actually walking quickly. A big group of cops walking quickly, APD officers. Here to our left. Jenny, I'm going to toss it back to you in the studio, but we are going to keep a close eye on what's happening here.
I understand there's some chaos going on 6th Street. Our own Bryce Newberry is there. And Bryce, what exactly is going on?
Hey, Jenny, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay. Describe to us what's going on.
All right, Jenny. Yeah, we are on 6th Street right now. And protesters left the area of Austin Police Headquarters as those fires started breaking out. They stormed 6th Street, and right now we are just outside of Private Stock Premium Boutique, where they rushed the front of the store, threw things at it, ripped things off. I mean, it was a total mob of people moving at it. They've now been pushed back, and other businesses are looking out, guarding their doors. Traffic, I mean, cars are everywhere. People are everywhere on their bikes. Business owners are coming out of the Private Stock Premium Boutique to try to scare them away. It's unclear if they're owners or employees or security. But these are protesters who left the Austin Police Department headquarters and just started going west on 6th Street. And as soon as they started rushing the front of that store, right behind me, I heard several other protesters just screaming out, "No, no, no." Oh, and
Bryce, are you there?
they are looting. Yes, I'm here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get a good eye of what's going on and give you guys accurate information. But it does appear that they are looting now at Private Stock Premium Boutique. People are running up the street with anything they can find to take out of the store. We have Michael Ramos on Facebook Live right now, but people are just taking whatever they can and running as fast as they can.
Bryce, do you see any police officers there?
Jenny, I do not. I'll tell you, the police had the perimeter pretty secured over at police headquarters and on I-35. And I'll tell you, I'm looking in all directions around here. No, I do not see any police right now.
Bryce, where exactly is this boutique store on 6th Street?
Yeah, so we are just east of Netchett Street on 6th Street. Again, it's the Private Stock Premium Boutique, which is next to All Saints Tattoo. And it appears to be across the street from Chills 360, as well as the Dirty Dog Bar. So that's trying to give you a better idea of where exactly we are. And just now that protesters have moved out of the front of that store, I'll tell you, it looks to me like the front of the store is just totally smashed and broken.
And that was my next question to you. Was the store open or did they break in?
Again, we are across the street trying to keep a safe distance from what's happening. But I'll tell you, it appears that the store was closed. From what I saw, it seemed to be there was a gate across it, and they ripped that gate down as soon as they could.
Oh,
yeah, it's a Private Stock Premium Boutique for our viewers who are just now joining us.
Is it just that store, Bryce, or are they going door to door?
Well, it's just that store right now. I'll tell you, the protesters are everywhere in this area right now. Several of them took off running after this happened. They're moving further west on 6th Street, but we're staying right here to talk to you. And Jenny, there are literally clothing hangers laying in the middle of the street in front of the store right now that they just looted.
So after 11 hours of a peaceful protest, now it has turned into a looting event. What else are you seeing, Bryce?
Well, Jenny, just before we came to 6th Street, there were at least 3 fires that Austin Fire Department responded to over near police headquarters. And I did just get off the phone with the Austin Fire Department, which tells us that they have additional resources assigned to the downtown area. They haven't brought in more crews, but they have resources reassigned to the downtown area. Their strategy is to move in, put the fires out as quickly as they can, and move out, of course, with a police presence with them. But they told me that they're not even going to investigate the cause of these fires. Obviously, we've seen some fireworks, but they don't plan on investigating the cause. Before we got to 6th Street, there were at least 3 of them.
All right, Bryce, we have a live picture right now of 6th Street. It doesn't appear like there's a lot of protesters there right now. The store that you are talking about, is it the dark building or the light building?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question again? It's a little loud.
I understand you're across the street from the store, the boutique that you're describing. Is it the dark building or the light building?
Okay, so there's the All Saints Tattoo that you can see that's lit up. I think it's green. green or blue, and then it's to the right of that. It's the private stock premium boutique. It's the darker building next to it on the right.
Okay. There doesn't appear to be a lot of people in front of that building. That's why I was questioning which one it is. Is it the one with the car in front of it?
Well, there are several cars driving through here right now. I'm not sure what live picture you're seeing on the air right now, but there were a lot of people in front of it. They rushed in, took everything they could, and ran. I don't know if you can see these live pictures, but now these clothing hangers that I told you about are being kicked out of the middle of the street.
Okay, I'm trying to see the...
Jenny, can you tell me if you are watching on Facebook Live or if you're watching from one of our tower cameras?
The Facebook Live, Bryce.
Okay, so Mike Marute is here also. They're watching your Facebook Live on the air right now. These are the hangers that I was just talking about. Mike is moving the camera down. These are the hangers that came out of the private stock premium boutique. And I see that we're having maybe a poor connection here. But just so you know, those are the hangers. Yeah, can you see if they're available? We're checking to see if some store owners are available right across the street from the private stock boutique that we could possibly talk to live on the air here. So just give us 1 second, Jenny. But it's chaos in the street. We have people running everywhere. There's bikes and the cars that are still trying to drive through.
All right, Bryce Newberry on the phone with us on 6th Street as he was just reporting several protesters looted apparently closed boutique store. As Bryce was just telling us, there were hangers on the street after looters went in and took several items from a closed store. Bryce was telling us that there were no police officers around. Even as all hands are on deck tonight for this protest. 11:04 p.m. on this Saturday night, 11 hours after this protest started, and as people are upset over the death of Michael Ramos and upset over the death of George Floyd, this peaceful protest. There's been several hours of people chanting and marching from the Austin Police Department to the state capitol to City Hall. And now tonight, it has turned criminal. People looting now. Fires started, people vandalizing and writing graffiti. It is disappointing to see that here in Austin, Texas. We've had several years of peaceful, uneventful protests. And now we're seeing what we see in other big cities. There have been protests all week long in Dallas and Houston and Miami and Chicago and New York, and now this has happened here. So it definitely is not something we wanted to see happen here, which is likely why Governor Greg Abbott deployed the National Guard tonight. He gave us extra resources as well as other cities, 1,500 DPS officers in Houston, Dallas, and here. All 2,100 Austin police officers are working tonight. Oh, here we go. Is this a live look, Lauren? Is this a live picture? Certainly is. Live picture of 6th Street, of that store that Bryce Newberry was just telling us, of a closed boutique store, and protesters breaking in and taking what they can, according to Bryce Newberry, who witnessed this, by the way, broke in and took what they could, and now that this is what is left. Certainly disappointing scene here. And of course, no officers, Bryce says, are in sight to take care of this. They are elsewhere. They're on 8th Street. They're on the overpass, trying to prevent demonstrators from overflowing and stopping traffic there. Let's see what they do. Bryce said that there were hangers and other items left in the street after protesters stormed that store, broke into that store, and took items as he saw them do. Okay, yep, there's one hanger, another hanger, and you can see the glass shattered on the concrete ground. This again is 6th Street. Bryce, are you still there?
Jackson. Yeah, Jenny, we are still here. Jenny, I'm still on the line. I'm sorry. I'm on another phone call at the same time. Or can you hear
No,
me?
you're absolutely okay. Just wondering who else has shown up besides these protesters. And
Yeah, well, the cars are still driving through here, but we moved a little bit further west here on 6th Street. We're outside of Toulouse on 6th Street, where employees just boarded up the store. They boarded up the front of it. It looks to be a bar, actually, but they boarded it up. And protesters are now on the sidewalks as more of these cars and bicycles move through on 6th Street.
okay. And Bryce, my understanding is police is on their way. The police has been called and officers are on their way. So please stay put and let's stay on this shot and wait for them to get there. Hopefully they'll get there soon. But their hands are busy tonight, as you know. So
Are we still on the Facebook Live, Jenny?
hopefully they'll
Just
get there
curious
soon
because we're not.
and salvage what they can. All right, this is another vantage point of 6th Street, where it doesn't look too busy from this vantage point. And so far, as Bryce Newberry has reported, one store looted on 6th Street. He saw demonstrators break into a closed store, take what they can, and leave. There are hangars on 6th Street. He is on the phone right now. Police has been called, and they should be arriving, although we don't know what the response time is, as all 2,100 officers are busy and working right now. Our own Mari Salazar is in the thick of things. Last time we saw her, she was on 8th Street in front of Austin Police Headquarters. Let's visit her again. Mari, what are we seeing now? What are demonstrators yelling about? I can hear them.
We are seeing some protesters. We're going to move back a little bit.
Be careful.
I'm sorry, Jenny. Give me just a second. All right, we're moving back here a little bit because there are cars driving. I'm right in front of the boutique store that Bryce was mentioning earlier that was broken into. There is glass on the floor, like you mentioned. We're going to move a little bit this way. I'm going to move a little bit this way. We're trying to keep a safe distance here, as we have been all night. We haven't been seeing any police officers in this general area. We're hearing the alarm going off right now. This is Private Stock Premium Boutique on 6th Street. There's glass on the floor, hangers. People have just been coming by and taking pictures. There's someone here. It looks like they're trying to close the gate, but there have been people just walking by and taking pictures. People still holding Justice for George signs. Again, glass everywhere, and there are alarms going off. But I haven't seen any police officers in this area to respond to this break-in. And I'm looking at all of the other businesses in the area. One of them is boarded up. I'm looking at it right now. Actually, a couple of them are boarded up. More than one, more than two are boarded up. It looks like the demonstrators have made their way a little bit down west on 6th Street here. We're gonna give you a look on what's happening here. Again, the alarm is going off for the Private Stock Premium Boutique. I haven't seen any other looting happening around here on 6th Street.
Mari, is that the same boutique that was just looted, or is it a different store?
It's the owner right over here.
Yes, it is the same. It is the same boutique that we were talking about earlier on the Facebook Live, and what Bryce was talking about earlier. Again, there are a lot of people surrounding it, so we're trying to keep a close eye on what's happening around us, because we don't want anyone to get hurt around here. Again, trying to keep our distance. There is still traffic going down here, and again, I don't see any police officers on scene yet. But when I was coming down on 6th Street, I did see a group of officers actually walking back to where I was before. I'm giving you a look at what East 6th Street looks like right now. And there are more demonstrators actually showing up here to your left on the sidewalks, moving more that way. Again, traffic is still flowing in this area. We're trying to keep an eye out for these cars because there have been some that are driving by fast.
Well, Mari,
I've only seen a couple demonstrators with signs out here too.
Shut off on a Saturday night. there should be no traffic on 6th Street on Saturday.
Yeah, and there are cars traveling down here on 6th Street right now. I haven't seen any barricades or anything of police. Again, I haven't seen any police presence in this area still. It's been about a couple minutes since we heard that the break-in happened. Again, we're keeping a close eye on our surroundings right now because there are a lot of protesters coming into this area now that we're moving away now because there are a large group of people, and we have heard some yelling, and we don't want to get caught up in that. But again, there are a lot of other businesses around this area that are boarded up.
All right,
yeah, we're keeping a safe distance and making sure that everyone is safe. Jenny,
as you keep
Jenny,
a safe distance, we're going to come back to you in a couple of minutes. Let's visit with Kaylin Norwood. And Kaylin, what are you seeing right now?
Across? Yeah, go.
Jenny, we are right across the street where Lottie was, and it looks like another store is getting broken into. So we're going to that scene right now. Lone Star Souvenir and Food Mart. Looks like protesters had stopped, but there was quite a scene here. The glass just broken through. I'm not sure what they used to do this, but it's clear. If we show you guys, let's show the front door. That
they in there.
Are people actually inside? We're about to continue to live just as it's happening. I'm told by another protester that people are inside. We can't see anyone from our vantage point, but you can clearly see. You can clearly see that the glass is broken. People are throwing water bottles. One of them did hit us just now. But glass is broken right at the front of this entrance here. This business it could be broken into. I'm not sure if there's anyone inside. I don't see anyone from this area, but it's a really large store all the way to the end. People are getting agitated right here outside of this business. Not sure what's going on. We're going to back up just a little bit. We're going to back up a little bit. Again, this is just right down the street where Bryce was saying another business was looted just a little bit ago. And then right across the street, I was speaking to one of the owners of the tattoo shop, and they were telling me they are boarding up and preparing to possibly close because of all that's happening. They're boarding up their windows because they don't want to be impacted by what's happening here with these protesters and things getting out of control. So that, Jenny, I'm going to toss things back over to you.
Yeah, Kaylin reporting live on 6th Street, and the looting is going on while there are bars trying to operate their business and trying to attract business. So that's pretty difficult for them. All right, Bryce Newberry is standing by live on the phone. And Bryce, are you still on 6th Street as well?
Yes, Jenny, we are still on 6th Street as well, seeing the pictures that you just saw of the Lone Star Souvenir and Food Mart. So we were across the street just before that happened. We saw someone on a bike pull up and smash the front door of the Lone Star Souvenir and Food Mart in, and then once people in the area realized the front door was smashed, they just rushed in the front of it. We are moving back now to a safer distance. We are working together in a team and a crew out here, and so we're moving back from the front of that because more protesters are gathering in front of it. And so that's what we're seeing right now. I've seen several business owners quickly boarding up their front windows as they are preparing for potentially more looting.
Which is absolutely scary, Bryce.
And Jenny, I just want to tell you, we're back in front of the Private Stock Premium Boutique right now. That was the first business that they looted, and there's just tons of broken glass from those front windows on the front door, on the sidewalk rather, with all of the metal that protected it bent up from them rushing inside.
Now, we were just there with Mari Salazar, and there was a whole crowd of people there. Is that crowd still there?
There are still some people in front of it, but again, we are moving back to a safer spot. We are gathering as a crew right now to figure out our next steps here. But just so you know, I'm still on the phone with you. We've moved back to a safer spot right now.
Any indication if the nearby bars are closing their doors? Not shutting down, but just closing the door, having the bouncers go inside for their safety?
Well, like I said, some of them have put boards on the windows in front, as well as a visible employee presence out in front of the windows. And so it's not clear if they're closing, if they're still letting anyone in at all. But think about it. Bars have been closed in Texas for a couple of months. They just reopened last weekend because of the coronavirus pandemic right before Memorial Day. So, you know, if people were choosing to get back out and about tonight, these protesters were not on 6th Street earlier. This all just happened within the last hour or so.
Right, Bryce, this is the last thing they needed. They wanted patrons to visit their business, so this looting was absolutely the last thing they needed. All right, Bryce Newberry live on 6th Street for us. Can we go back to Mari Salazar's shot since she was right in front? Okay. Everyone is moving away from 6th for their safety, so we will give reporters a break. This is a live look above 6th Street. Usually, 6th Street is closed off to motorists. For some reason, it is not. Well, it's because of the pandemic. Because there's not a lot of traffic, motorists are open. But before the pandemic, 6th Street, every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, is usually shut down and barricaded off. And you would see mounted patrol officers on horses riding up and down as part of a crowd control measure. That's not the case today. That hasn't been the case for a couple of months. Okay, can we get a shot of 8th Street then? Is there, how's traffic flowing on I-35? Okay. At least I-35 in both directions is flowing freely. Authorities are still recommending you don't come down to this area, 6th Street. What just happened there is a prime example why. A lot of looting going on, at least with the two stores, as our reporters have described. Bryce Newberry, an eyewitness to that boutique on 6th Street, he said the protesters broke the glass, went in, took what they could, and left the hangers in the middle of the street. We've called the police. They should be coming pretty soon. But with all hands on deck, we don't know how fast their response time is because it's not a priority one call. It's not what they call a hot shot call. That means no one is in imminent danger, so they're not going to go right away. But we don't know, since looting is occurring and it keeps moving down the line on 6th Street, they may make it a priority. So that's something to keep in mind. All right, this is a live look. We keep moving around to just look for things that are happening at 11:20. And if you're just tuning in and wondering what all this is about, what the chaos on 6th Street is about, why there are so many people walking around downtown, it's not your usual crowd, you are correct. All these people started 11 and a half hours ago in front of the Austin Police Headquarters on 8th Street, protesting, demonstrating because of the death of two men of color. Michael Ramos, unarmed, killed by an Austin police officer on April 24th. And of course, George Floyd, unarmed black man, killed on Monday, creating a lot of tension and unrest. A lot of people asking, when will change come? Enough is enough. So that's what this protest is about. That's what last night's protest is about. That's what tomorrow's protest is about. And that's what we are covering for you. A lot of people who didn't show up for the protest are also protesting at home and supporting these demonstrators who just want their voices heard and want their actions to be heard as well. They want change. That's what all this is about. Many of you may not agree with how they're doing it, but they have their First Amendment rights. All right, we are going to go back out to Bryce Newberry, who is standing by I think on 6th Street. Bryce, are you still there?
Yes, Jenny, we have moved to a safer position. We are not right on 6th Street right now. We are trying to get to a safer spot. But to give you some idea of what's going on, I know that you've been reporting that the police have been called. We have seen a presence starting to show up here. And while we were trying to get to a safer spot, protesters started running just as fast as they can toward us. So we've actually turned, and we are now waiting to get to our safer spot.
Yes, please. Your safety is the #1 priority. That's good that you have moved away. What general direction are the demonstrators moving toward?
Yeah, so the way that they started running was west on 6th Street, and then just like I said, as fast as they possibly could, and then going north, back up toward 7th and 8th Street. But that was the direction that we saw them moving. Again, we have moved, and we are in a waiting spot while we move to a safer spot, and we don't have the best view of what they're doing right now. But that was what happened just right before we got on the phone with you just now.
So the protesters
We do hear.
running toward the I-35. Yeah, I heard part of what you said, Bryce. Sorry. So they are running away from 6th Street toward I-35. Did they cross the interstate by any chance toward East Austin?
Hey, Jenny, I'm sorry. It's very loud. I missed that question. But to clarify, they were running west on 6th Street, not back toward I-35, and in all directions as fast as they possibly could.
Oh, I gotcha. And where exactly are you if not on 6th Street?
Right now, we are with our entire KVUE crew, as well as the security that we're working with tonight, moving to a safer spot.
And that is good to hear.
And now, Austin Police Department just tweeting, their goal is to protect peaceful protests. They're asking everyone to be aware of APD's safety mission and to discourage illegal activity, violence, and damage to property. The officers, of course, are responding to the looting that we first reported here on KVUE just a few moments ago.
Well, that is good. Hopefully they're there on 6th Street now and taking care of the 2 cases of looting on 6th Street. And they are advising everyone to stay away from that general area. But it does seem that traffic is flowing now on Interstate 35, northbound and southbound, flowing nicely. As a matter of fact, when we just showed it a few minutes ago, it doesn't seem like there are any demonstrators up there. It didn't seem like there were any police officers up there anymore, although I could be wrong because it is dark and we didn't stay on that shot for very long. Is this 6th Street or 7th Street, guys? I'm not sure. Oh, it is 6th Street. Okay, this is 6th Street, which is kind of confusing because usually you don't see cars driving on 6th Street. They usually have this barricaded on any given weekend night, but because of the pandemic, they have it opened up because the bars and restaurants are not open at 100%, so they don't have their usual crowds. And I haven't seen any fireworks lately or any fires, so that's also some good news at 11:25 this Saturday night. Do we have any shots of APD headquarters? Any indication if demonstrators and protesters are still at APD headquarters? Here's a shot of I-35 and southbound and northbound traffic. While southbound is still kind of slow, northbound is flowing freely. Not clear why southbound is slow. It may be because police cruisers were still up there. You can see, okay, we can see that 8th Street is still blocked off and there are still demonstrators and police officers underneath the overpass and in the intersection. The lights are off. That's curious. We know when Kaylin Norwood was talking to us, the gas station, they turned off their lights, but we're not sure why the intersection lights are off here in front of Austin Police Headquarters. maybe we can pull back a little bit. Okay. Yep, all the lights are off on the intersection of 8th Street, and even it appears, nope, the lights are off. The lights are off here. Okay. Wow. Hopefully the lights will turn back on soon. All right. All right. One final look of downtown Austin, where the protests started 11 and a half hours ago because of the death of two men, Michael Ramos and George Floyd. This has been special live coverage of that protest. And don't forget, there will be another protest tomorrow at the state capitol at 1 p.m. We, of course, will cover that for you as well. Thank you so much for joining us for this. We appreciate your time. Have a good evening.